It's time for conclusions of our long-term loan vehicle, the Jeep Compass. We've got the Night Eagle, which is base specification, and we've had it for around 3 months now. During that time, it's been doing what most family cars do. This is a medium SUV, and that's the choice of family car these days. It's been around town, picking up the kids from school, doing the grocery run, all those exciting sorts of things. But it's been doing a couple of road trips at the same time as well, so we've learnt a lot about this car. We want to run you through those experiences in this video today. So we'll run you through the interior, how comfortable is it, how practical is it as a family car, and what is it like to drive? What's the engine like, the gearbox, noises, vibration, harshness, all that sort of thing. So let's get into it. Just to recap, our Jeep Compass Night Eagle comes with an asking price of $36,950 before on-road costs. That sounds like a lot for a base spec model, but Night Eagle does come with plenty of basic kit. Although it's classed as a small SUV by the monthly reporting tool VFAX, the size of the Compass does let it straddle the small and medium SUV segments. This brings it up against a wide variety of competition like the Hyundai Kona and Mazda CX-30 on the smaller side, and the Subaru Forester and Skoda Karoq from the medium SUV side. Interestingly, although the Karoq is classed as a medium SUV, it's actually smaller than the Compass overall. After a few months with this Jeep Compass, one thing I have enjoyed over that time is just the general practicality of the interior. Basic things like a volume knob, having a digital speed readout on the multifunction display up there, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that stuff in the infotainment. This interior, although it might not be as swish and suave as other medium-sized SUVs out there, I think it nails the basics quite well. Now I have to say, although I was very impressed with the storage under this passenger seat here, I think I used it maybe once or twice during our time with the car. So although it is cool and handy, you could also probably live without it. This center console, it is very small. You don't use it for many things at all, but the top does slide forward, so that becomes an armrest while you're driving. Makes things pretty comfortable. I do like the steering wheel. It's got a bit of a premium finish to it, and there are a couple of buttons hidden on the back there. You do volume on one side and you can skip tracks on the other. So if you're sick of the kids listening to the Wiggles all day, you can turn it down or skip the next one without taking your hands off the wheel. Now I've driven the S Limited, which is the top spec Compass before, and it has leather seats with electric adjustment. However, these seats, this is more vinyl and cloth, but they're still very comfortable. You can live with manual adjustment most of the time. They actually jack up quite a way, this driver's seat. So if you are a little bit shorter, you can get up and over the wheel a little bit more for good visibility. But I actually really like these seats. They're not a negative whatsoever. All in all, the interior of the Compass is solid. It's definitely not memorable and probably not class leading either. However, it ticks the right boxes and it does everything quite well. Got cup holders here, you've got room in the doors for more drinks as well. There's a bit of storage around the place. It feels well made. The important touch points like the steering wheel, the armrest and the seats, they all feel good quality, especially considering this is a base specification. So this car is definitely not disappointing. One of the most important commodities for a medium-sized SUV is space, and especially in this second row. We've been testing out the Compass with our family of 4, so I've got my wife normally driving, me in the passenger seat, and 2 kids in the back. So Ruby, she's 2 years old, she sits in a forward-facing seat here, and there's 1-year-old Lucy next door. She's rearward-facing, and that takes up more space, that seat. However, there is enough room between the front and the second row for both at the same time. You can see here, leg room is good, and for adults, foot room and toe room is good as well. Headroom is a little bit lacking, and that's because we've got a sunroof in this model. That's a $1,600 option, not standard. However, I have to say the kids do love it when they look out there. In terms of other amenities here, we've got a USB point and a household plug down there as well. I've used that to charge my laptop a couple of times, works well enough, and you've got air vents as well. And if you've only got adults in the back here, pop down the center there, you've got a couple of cup holders and maybe room for your phone or something like that. However, plenty of space, enough comfort, ticks the boxes for a medium-sized SUV. This is the boot of the Compass. It measures in at 438 litres of space, and we found in our testing that to be enough for things like your weekly grocery shop, going away for the weekend, loading up a pram and a few bags, all that sort of thing. The carpet finish is nice, and you've got a space saver spare under there. There is a little bit of room for extra stuff if you need it. However, things like milk bottles, wine bottles maybe, can go in the side there, stops them from rattling around a little bit. It all works and it's all nice. Now, while I've got you here, I'll tell you that there is 3 top tether points. You can see them all across the back there, and the outboard seats have ISOFIX points as well. So you can fit 3 baby seats if you need to. One negative experience to mention with the back of this Compass, and that's the luggage blind. Generally speaking, it's just a little bit flimsy, but also these clips up the top here, they tend to undo when the boot is full. So they go like that, the thing goes a bit skewy, everything goes everywhere, and it is quite annoying. However, I'm sure it is an easy fix. The 2.4 litre petrol 4-cylinder engine is shared right across the Compass range, except for the diesel-only Trailhawk model. It makes 129 kilowatts and 229 newton meters, running through a 6-speed automatic transmission. Around town, it's actually not too bad. From a standing start, it's got enough acceleration for the purpose. Up to 60, 70 kilometers an hour, just accelerating, it's fine. However, you do find if you want a bit more go forward, you find the car will quickly just drop a ratio or 2 and start revving quite hard to give you that go forward. So in isolation, it's actually not too bad. Driving this Compass around town otherwise is quite easy. It's proven to be very easy to live with. Even though this thing does have the Jeep badge and the 7-slot grille on the front, it's a front-wheel drive SUV, so it's very much a town car, a family car. Not for going up the side of mountains, but going to the shops, doing 3-point turns like this one, driving down narrow roads and that sort of thing. Reversing camera is actually not too bad in this. Helps navigation in the tight spots quite well. And the turning circle seems tight also. And considering that's what the car's all about, it does a good job of it. To be honest with you, it's quite easy to live with. You get used to the way the engine drives, you get used to the way it puts power down to the ground. Steering's easy, it goes where you need it to. There's no dodgy understeer or anything like that to worry about. The brakes are good enough, and the ride is quite good also. Over those 3 months, it wasn't just myself driving the Compass. Our illustrious video man Lucas took it on an empty esky journey down the south coast of New South Wales, and plenty of others from the CarAdvice team spent time behind the wheel.
The thing you'll have to get your head around when you jump into this particular variant of the Jeep is the fact that it is a Jeep, but it's a 2-wheel drive Jeep, and I guess, you know, you tend to think of 4-wheel drive whenever you think of Jeep, because obviously they're legendary off-roaders. Now obviously, as well as that, segments have moved on, the market's moved on, and seemingly everyone wants an SUV to run around town, but they also don't care whether it's 2-wheel drive, and you can't blame Jeep for wanting a part of that market. Once you get past that, I think the specification grade of this makes a lot of sense. If you look through the whole range, this is probably the one that we'd recommend. It's got a lot of standard gear, feels like it's really good value for money, doesn't feel like it's missing anything, especially here inside the cabin. And the only real negative that I've noticed the more time I've spent with it is that the engine's not as good as it could be. It has to work a little bit hard, and it's probably not making the most that it could be making out of its performance envelope. So it's not a huge issue, but it's a negative when you're assessing the vehicle against all the others in the segment. Some of them have smoother, more efficient engines, some have engines that are more refined, but this one seems like it has to work a little hard. Aside from that, around town, running around in traffic, this is an excellent medium SUV.
Overall, I've quite enjoyed the time I've spent with this particular little Jeep in the CarAdvice garage. It's been a very dependable car. Nothing's really gone wrong with it. It's been nice and easy to use. It's comfortable to drive as well, easy to get to know. Makes for a good family car. I've had my son in the back of this, there's plenty of room to load him up. Overall, it's a good small SUV. However, there are a couple of downfalls with this car. First thing is the engine. It does feel a little bit underpowered. At times you've got to really rev it to get the most out of it, and it doesn't have as much punch as some of the turbocharged European offerings. The other downside with this car is the transmission. It's a bit indecisive, and it holds revs a bit high, and that's affected fuel economy too. We're registering about 9.5 litres on this one at the moment. And it's just not the best calibrated item I've ever experienced in this segment. But overall, however, if you're looking for a nice, cute, small SUV to move the family around, that's easy to get to know and easy to drive, then this one should be on your shopping list.
With service intervals every 12,000 kilometres or 12 months, you're looking at $2,595 for 5 years worth of servicing through Jeep dealerships. And although the warranty period of 5 years is good, the 100,000 kilometre limit might not suit more high mileage users. Despite being a base model, the Compass does have good safety credentials. Autonomous emergency braking, blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. There is also a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from 2017. The medium SUV segment is one of the most competitive and popular in Australia. Buyers have no shortage of options in that regard, and there's always fresh metal coming out, it seems. And in that field, this Jeep is a solid option. It's definitely not a class leader in any real respect. However, we've found it to be very good at the core job of space, practicality, comfort, and safety. And I have to say this Night Eagle is definitely the pick of the range in terms of value for money and inclusions. As always, we're very interested to know what your thoughts are on the Jeep Compass. Do you like this car? Is it your choice in the segment, or would you lean towards something else? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, hit that subscribe button while you're there and head over to CarAdvice.com for the full review. Thanks for watching.